Hi there. My name is Zenet Maramara, founding president of Christian Stewardship Association. I would like to share with you my personal journey of transformation that happened when I realized the truth that God owns everything. You see, I used to take pride in my ability to work hard and get things done. I love being in control and making things happen. Maybe some of you can relate to that. As a one woman department in my seminary, I used to do everything from planning to execution. But as time went by, my responsibilities as the fundraiser increased, and I started believing it was my sole responsibility to raise the annual budget for the school. Night after night, I would lie awake, thinking and worrying about it. I felt the heavy burden on my shoulders. I knew I needed a solution. And so I thought getting more education, more training would help me to gain the knowledge and the skills necessary for me to succeed in my job. That was when I decided to go to Regent University in the US to get training in ministry fundraising. But little did I know that that journey would lead me to something much greater. I prayed to God, seeking His direction, and God did more than give me guidance. With absolute clarity, He showed me my true calling, my mission, my ministry. It was a second conversion for me, a conversion to biblical stewardship and generosity. God revealed to me that my mission is to worship Him, serve Him, glorify Him through biblical stewardship education. And this realization was both overwhelming and liberating. I discovered that God is the true owner of everything, my life, my work, my seminary, and even its future. I called it my aha moments. Surrendering my ownership and control over things to the rightful owner brought me to a newfound sense of freedom and joy as a steward. I used to think that it was up to me to provide for God's ministry, but I learned that God's work done in God's way will not lack God's supply. It became very clear that my role was to focus on multiplying faithful and generous stewards than just merely seeking transactions. As author and theologian Scott Rodin says, the problem is not a lack of resources, but a lack of joyful and generous stewards. I shifted my focus and my mindset from merely accomplishing tasks to transforming lives. I began to see people around me not as a means to an end, but as individuals who could experience God's grace and become joyful, generous stewards themselves. God used me to organize ministries in the Philippines around biblical stewardship, generosity, ministry fundraising, accountability, and even creation care. Through these ministries, we were able to equip more than 1,000 churches and organizations in raising, multiplying faithful and generous stewards, and encouraging them to recognize that God as the owner of their work, their relationships, and ministries. I'm also involved in global boards such as the Global Trust Partners, at the Peer Accountability Group, and also of OM International, where I serve and help to promote global generosity and accountability. You see, when we truly grasp the truth that God owns everything, our lives can be transformed. We can experience a new level of freedom and joy, living in the grace of God and embracing a culture of biblical stewardship and generosity. So, my dear friends, let us recognize that God is the ultimate owner of all things. Live it out in every aspect of our lives, and we can experience the incredible freedom and joy of a faithful steward.
She knew how to do fundraising theoretically. I read her dissertation that she wrote, but I realized that she really has to learn to trust God and to believe that everything depends on the blessing of the Lord. So we met, I don't know how many times. I have to say she was very stubborn in the beginning. It took some time till she got it, but she was willing to learn. God spoke to her, and God used her. When we started a fundraising program for the seminary, when we started the MBA program for people who want to do Christian ministry, we started a society for stewardship, she always was willing to help, took part, and took on the leadership. I was very proud of her as she learned to begin to trust God, depend on Him, because everything that we are and everything that we have belongs to God, not to us.
I was recruited by Senate in 1999 as the first stop in her department. Together with God, we turned ATS around from foreign dependency to local support. I learned from Senate that every small gift is to be valued the same as a large gift. Today, after 2 decades, I continue to serve at Asian Theological Seminary, where 99% of our operational budget comes from local giving.
Zenith is a friend and a mentor. I used to be a worrywart until Zenith showed me the life-changing truth that God is our faithful provider. Our responsibility is to obey and follow Him. Encouraging people to be generous like God is crucial in my ministry among the urban poor. Zenith has inspired me to trust God, to seek first His kingdom and His righteousness, and the rest will follow. God cares for me more and the poor people whom I serve. What is there to fear?
I came to know a lot of things about God, particularly stewardship, which she is really sharing. I am blessed by how she has been working not only in the lives of people, but also in helping other churches through the ministry of stewardship.
After graduation, I started to apply what I learned from MBA in my own life and even in our family and our faith community, Manna from Heaven Center, and even the bakery, Walayong Bakery. The transformation started with me. It has touched my heart, what I learned from MBA at ATS touched me. So I experienced my identity as God's beloved, and that was how the Lord wanted me to live. Even in our family life, we started to really steward not only find finances or funds, but even our time and our other resources, even talents and abilities that the Lord has entrusted to us, knowing that God owns everything and He is in control of life. He owns life, and that it is His kingdom that we are advancing, not ours. Help us a lot.